So this is probably the most epic interview location I've ever been in. Thanks for hiking a quarter mile, half mile, a whole mile up to this mountain. But I wanted to ask you guys some questions to kind of get an idea of like how internship's been for you. Starting with, why did you choose Georgia? First, was it your number one pick? And if so, why did you choose it?
Georgia was my number one pick. I think what interested me the most was the location, the people groups, and the culture. Just where I want to, where I'm maybe possibly hoping to go long term. This site was closest to those areas. You were just to transition into anywhere in Georgia, it might not be that difficult. But because of where we are here and the Azeri and Turkish culture that's kind of interwoven in here and some of the rural culture, we're outside of the city, and it's been interesting. In some ways it's been difficult, but also in those ways it's been really rewarding. There's different uses of time, different ways that just things that normally would take you 10 minutes now take you 30 minutes.
Takes longer in that it's just more complicated, or you have to walk everywhere?
Yeah,
or maybe all those things?
We don't necessarily know where everything is. People just, the stores, the markets, the culture of it just operates a little slower. It's not in and out. You might stop and talk to somebody. Someone might stop you and want to just spend time with you. And so, going to the store just to get eggs, it might turn into a little bit of a longer trip. So you gotta really learn how to prioritize time, but also hold it loosely and know that, it could take however long it takes.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Have you had a similar experience, or how's your transition been?
Yeah, the transition has been pretty much about the same. Some other things that were kind of awkward and hard to get used to at first was the interaction between men and women, or rather lack thereof interaction between men and women. So even for us as a team, Nick and I interacting with the girls, like for the longest time, they weren't allowed to come over to our apartment. We were only allowed to go over to their place. And even as we began learning language, like it was frustrating. We're learning Azeri. You would speak Azeri in the market, but then you would go to like a grocery store and it would be Georgians running it, and you would go to ask them a question and they didn't understand you because they speak Georgian.
Yeah.
So it took a while to get used to that.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this the other day, but one of the most important things that we're doing here, because this is such a new site, is not just a new site for the interns. I mean, a lot of the workers who are here have not been here very long. And so it's just even laying a foundation of what Christian living looks like to locals, because they've seen Orthodox Christians and things like that, but most of them have never met a Christian from the West, a Christian from Europe, or anybody who's not an Orthodox Christian. And so just showing them through our daily lives, what does it look like to be a follower of Jesus? How does that affect your life day to day is something that we're always trying to show the community. And then, through the young people, we've had some amazing interactions and amazing opportunities to just spend time with them and learn a lot from them, but also pour into them and try to mentor them and guide them. And so it's been pretty awesome.
With changing cultures, I know it's not an easy thing, it's a difficult thing. I imagine that you would have come against like some personal obstacles or things that you've had to overcome yourself. How has the global internship been able to just refine you personally?
It's been great. It was hard to kind of die to myself a little bit, but then once you do that and you really involve your team in what you're doing, it makes it a much better experience. We're a family, we really are. I think like we even bicker like a family sometimes. It's gone past that phase of just friendship, teamwork. It's really molding us into a family, because we're talking, it's like brothers talk or sisters talk, and it's a really unique thing. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Chris, how has the global internship challenged you personally since you've been here?
I think not only for myself, but a lot of us struggled with not being able to do anything when we first got here.
Yeah.
And just being patient in the season that the Lord had us in. I mean, you take advantage of that and you go and you learn the culture and you learn the town and you meet people, but it's not work.
And what does it mean to use your time wisely? Because I think on internship, you are allotted your time. You invest your time as you wish in certain ways, and so they really give you a lot of responsibility, and so you have to have that responsibility to or that self-motivation in a way to really take your time and make the most of it, which I love. I mean, it is a challenge, but it's also a blessing, because then, you know, when the Lord opens opportunities or opens doors, you can just dive straight into those. But it is challenging for us coming from the West. We're used to going to a shift, you know, and things like that. And there's no shifts here. It's just, here's the time the Lord's given you. Here's the opportunities the Lord's given you. Now make that work, and it's a really cool experience. I think the most important aspect of it has been just gaining and understanding a realistic view of what missions looks like.
Okay.
In terms of your lifestyle, your work, your responsibilities, everything, you know, and because we go on short-term trips and we think we know what missions looks like, and then you go for a longer period of time and you realize you didn't, you know, and some of our expectations are correct, but some of them you don't understand till you're there, for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, you know.